Peace, y'all. Out in the garage in Racing Roseville. That's right. We're not out at the China shop. Was out there yesterday. Worked on the riding mower that the renters that were renting the place left there. So the homeowner said I could have it. It starts and runs. It wouldn't steer. Probably told you all this. There's a I don't know what you call it, curved or angled pinion gear that's on the steering shaft that interfaces with a sprocket that goes like this, right? And it's got a control arm that goes out to a spindle, and then another rod runs from spindle to spindle and so forth. The original one, the middle of the pinion gear on the steering shaft, which is all one piece, you got to buy the whole shaft, was completely baked and cooked. I'm sure I showed you all that stuff. I went out, finally got the parts, went out yesterday, and after working on the Kid Kart all day Saturday, well, not all day, till about 2:30 in the afternoon. I'll catch you up on that too. It was a bunch of work. We cleaned the carburetor and got it running. And then every now and again, when I went over there, I'd start it up and run it a bit, and the carburetor got clogged up again. Kenny told me to take the fuel tank off, and I didn't listen. So I took the carb off, cleaned it, took the tank off, and the grunkus inside from the fuel sitting in it. Long story short, from when it got stolen, brand new in a box from Kenny, and it went to the pawn shop. He chased it down, got it back. The pawn shop wanted to be sure that it was new, so they put gas and oil in it and started it. And then they left the gas and oil in it. So I put a handful of nuts and bolts, basically just nuts. Number 10, 1032 nuts, nylocks, and quarter 28 nylocks. Probably 40 of them in the fuel tank, and just rattled it all around. And that beat up the grunkus that was in there and did a great job removing it. It was genius, by the way, genius. So we got that all squared away, put it back together, got gas in it. It runs awesome. So now it's ready for the kids. Reason I told you that is Saturday I was going to go out and put the new lawnmower parts on the lawnmower and cut the grass, because the grass is starting to get long out there now. But took the day off after working on the Kid Kart and went out, was going to go out Sunday. Went out yesterday with the parts, and of course it just rained all day out there. And the new steering shaft didn't fix the problem. It's still skipping teeth and won't turn. And what we find out is this 1/3 of a circle, well, a quarter of a circle, this sprocket that it interfaces with, that's a hardened piece. The teeth on that are in great shape. It's just not meshing. It's not a full mesh. I mean, it was barely touching the tips. And I'm thinking, I just put a new bushing in. The chassis where the bushing goes in isn't warbled out of shape, so that the steering shaft isn't moving. So I had to take the gas tank out, remove the gas tank tray, get in there. Thank goodness I could get the impact and get underneath at the same time. Remove the 2 bolts, and sure as anything, the pivot bolt that this sprocket deal operates from was warbled out of shape, and it was moving away from the steering shaft. Now, I could have tried to just push it, move it, force it over, and with the impact and tighten it down, but as hard as that is to turn, there's a lot of slop in this thing, because somebody rode that thing hard many times and put her away wet, if you know what I'm saying. So I decided to just rebuild as much of it as I could. It was a 5/16 bolt with a little hardened spacer. Then the gear went on. And then there was a retaining plate that went on top, because there's a big groove in that sprocket as well. I'll bring you this stuff tomorrow so you can see it as I get it all put back together. But I needed to go to from a 5/16 bolt to a 3/8 bolt, because the hole's warbled out, and move this thing closer, so into the teeth. So the meshing of the teeth was a much higher percentage. Got it all done. I was on a little mini lathe today. That's right, Brent. Cutting bushings, stepped bushings, collared bushings, whatever you want to call it, shouldered bushings. out of metal and going with bigger hardware and all that kind of stuff. So tomorrow I'm going to take this stuff out there and hopefully get this thing turning so the steering works properly. Then I'm sure we're going to run into the same thing we did with the swimming pool, where we burned about $125. It needed another $400 because the filter was screwed up. So we ended up just buying an $800 new filter for the pool. And that made sense to me. I mean, I'm not into the swimming pool thing, but the wife is, and that was a big deal for her. So I figured, you know what, I'll bust into the secret stash and buy her a filter for the pool. That way we're starting from new and we know what we got and we know what's going on with it. I have the same feeling about this lawnmower. I spent, right at this point, $87 with shipping and everything for the steering shaft, and I bought 2 bushings because that's what usually goes bad. Somebody had changed the bushing because the bushing I took out wasn't worn at all. Somebody put a bushing in it, and that didn't solve their problem. It was the chassis hole, pivot hole on that sprocket that was warbled out. And you can see everything, all the holes that have like rods bent on a 90 with a hairpin clip or something through it, all the holes are warbled out of shape because this thing was beat. It's old. We're just going to try to get to the end of summer with it. Get through the leaves falling and all. I get to the end of the year. And over the winter when it's bone chill and cold and people are looking at snow blowers, we're going to go buy us a lawnmower more than likely. But, so I'll bring you all that tomorrow, putting that stuff together. After I was done getting that whole apparatus reworked and bushings cut and everything, replacing the bolts, didn't even have to go to the hardware store. I found it. Everything I needed here. Brand new nylock nut, 3/8 bolt, the exact same length as the 5/16 bolt. It was a blessing. But I started working on this thing. And we got Rich came over the other day and put a whole bunch more weld in here because I was not happy with it. And I ground it all down, and so now she's looking good. She's moving back and forth, and we're good to go. So now we can ship this thing off. We're not taking it over to the China shop just yet. All the stuff in here is going to be here at least, could be another 2 weeks, could be a month. Got a lot of work to do. Got all the insulation up on the walls in the shop. I still need to clean that back room where those big water tanks are and the storage area that was going to be my fiberglass and spray paint shop. I got to get in here and clean that stuff and scrub the floor and all that. So that's going to come this week too. But we got to get the lawnmower running and cut the grass. Like I said in that video, I already got bit by the damn ticks. And as the grass gets bigger, I mean, the chances of you picking one up are even better because they don't jump. But if the longer the grass is, the easier it is to snag onto you when you walk by. So played with this a little bit. Instead of running out there and getting the mower done today, it's already right now after 5 p.m. So it took a little while to cut all that stuff and get it all worked up. But we got it all done. We'll go throw it on tomorrow, put it all back together, and see what we got. We bought us a new weed whacker too, brand new weed whacker, man, $250. But again, I'd rather start with new and know what I got, and we'll be tearing it up with that stuff, with that thing out there too, man. I got change of clothes, sweatpants, everything out there. I better bring some rubber bands for the bottom of my, so the ticks don't. That's right. We're gonna wrap some. What does Dale Earnhardt say? Wrap some kerosene rags around your ankles, so the ants don't climb up your legs and bite you in your candy ass. But that's it. That's it for Monday. I believe it's the 7th of August. Time moving right along. Hoping to get in to that place. I mean, I got a lot of work to do. Got to build the mezzanine, all that stuff after the insulation's done. We got wires to run. We got boxes to hang, outlets, all that kind of stuff. The electrician's going to come. His buddy Sherry's somebody that works with Shifts. He lives up in Port Huron, right on his way home. He'll come out and do it. Ain't going to cost us anything. So that's a bonus. So it's moving along, but this lawnmower thing is really hanging stuff up. Spent 2 or 3 days not messing around because waiting for parts, and then the thing didn't work out. So once we were able to cut the grass and weed whack out there, we'll be able to focus more on the garage and getting it finished, getting it to a point where we can start moving our stuff in over there. So that's it. From Racing Roseville, I want to say the formerly Racing Roseville. One day, hang with me. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. But that's it. Godspeed. God bless. Hang in there. We're praying for y'all. Larry's motor mount is fixed up. Thanks, Rich. Talk to y'all.